Next 99's mashup, the music that made us, is powered by Digicel, Better Together, and sponsored by Police Credit Union. Your future is safe with us. Blue Waters, Fet Responsibly, Pizza Hut. Now that's delivering. Creamy novelties for all life's moments. Da Castello Prosecco and Millennium Sound Company.
I know all I want in life is Soca. It's like they want to pay me with this thing they call Soca. Look what it do super when it hit him. Other than Soca started killing. Body man, sing Soca and living. So my plan is to sing Soca until me dead.
Soul of Calypso arose in the 70s, creating a musical smoothie from African, Caribbean, and East Indian rhythms. It was brought to life through the imagination and inspiration of the originator, Garfield Blackman, Lord Shorty. His intention was to give soca a cool new sound. And even though it was met with some disapproval at first, it's hard to deny the impact soca music has had on Trinbagonian culture.
But the purpose was to bring the East Indian and the Africans in Trinidad together. So there was a combination of the two main rhythmic structures in Trinidad to create a sound that would be totally Trinidadian. Let us call it a Douglas rhythm, so to speak.
It is an honor and a pleasure to start up this season of Mashup with none other than Carl Beaver Henderson. Good morning.
Morning. I'm honored to be here. And I consider this network to be home.
Right.
From TTT
to every
the 70s come back.
You see, you started to talk about things that I don't know. But of course, it's all about the mashup, the music that made us, powered by Digicel. Thank you very much. And of course, thanks to our sponsors, the Police Credit Union. Your future is safe with us. Blue Waters, making sure we fet responsibly. Creamery Novelties for all life's moments. Da Castello Prosecco and Millennium Sound Company coming together to make sure that this, our third edition, is perfect. Now, what we've done in the past is revisit different genres and that kind of thing, but it's apt that this time around we start the season all about soca music, and we often talk about the parents of soca music being calypso. So, Beaver, if you were to summarize if I were to summarize your career, I would attribute a lot of the production, a lot of the originating sound, not sounds per se, but sound of calypso and soca to your career. You could talk about being parts of bands that founded what we knew as the brass bands and them kind of thing. Man like Roy Cape when he was a wee boy, as you said. But how would you describe or summarize your career in terms of your input to the fraternity?
I look at it when I look back, because as a friend of mine who actually started with me in the industry, Robin Imamshire, sometimes when we look back, we realize that we were always creating history without realizing we were creating history at the time.
You're doing it.
Because our whole thing was just to bend the matrix, always to change. We were always on that edge. So the whole thing with big PAs in the country was started by us way back. The imaging of bands and costumes, and we started that, right? I am the first one started contracts in the business from Firefly. But I lived on two sides of the world. When I say two sides of the world, in studio and on stage, which I still do actually.
Don't know how.
Because I love it, it's my passion, and I can't decide if I have to go to one. It won't happen.
Right, there's no choosing.
Right. But we all contributed in our change. My thing was more towards the brass and stuff. You even mentioned like Roy Cape. For a lot of those who don't know and did not know, Roy Cape and the All Stars was formerly called TNT Rainbow, which was my band in studio. And that's the band that we won. I did the Road March in 79 with Poser, did Shorty's Home Shanty album, King Austin Progress. You know what I mean? All those things. We were all one at the time. And then Roy went to the tent.
Right.
I stayed a little while, and then I formed Firefly. That's when the big band thing started.
That when we get things like White Horse with Ajal. I don't remember those things because, I mean, that was my childhood, to be very honest with you. And so we need presence of greatness, and we are going to start the conversation from a point of information. But I still have to ask you, how you feeling about Carnival 2025? I mean, we got a lot of soca coming through from the previous year. We have rhythms, and we have a lot of countdowns, a lot of actual charting happening now. So how are we feeling about the Soca and the Calypso for 2025?
All right, so this is a long season. So normally in like a long season, I don't really do assessment so early in the season. Like
Fair.
next week, I will start to. But to me, so far, this is one of the most exciting seasons musically.
Right.
Why? Because it is the most fluid and in transitional music we have been having in a while.
I want you to explain to the people what you mean by fluid and transitional, because you talked about from jump, your MO was to shift the matrix, as you say.
Yeah.
So I get a feeling that it's a similar ebb and flow kind of thing you see in the new generation.
Right. Well, actually, again, it's a very generational thing. So the generation before this present young generation who's on the market, like the young brothers and them, there was a disconnect to the past. Now, it is only natural. It's not to say something that I could get upset about. It's a natural thing.
Right.
So you tend to push away the generation before you to break new boundaries. But the generation just before the young brothers and guys, they were pushing so far, they disconnected from the history.
Right.
And that's why a lot of people started complaining about the music, was a disconnect. But it's coming back. That connection is coming back.
Yep.
Actually, I could give credit for a lot of unnamed people, because there are a couple of young producers outside there who never lost that connection. Or even if they did, they immediately reconnected once they realized it was there. And they're back on the ball. Young Brothers Management, Optimus Productions. There's a guy I knew as before he even started in the business. So every so often he'll call me for advice or something.
Right.
So I did my first podcast with the young brother. And with
Look
him.
at you in the podcast, Will.
Yeah, with him.
Right.
Before he was bang bang young brother kind of situation.
Makes sense.
And we spoke about that, and he went back and did his research, and look where they are now.
Well, I mean, we are seeing it directly in Young Brother, using him as the example specifically, because we heard songs that he did give us that full-on retro vibe altogether. So I'm not even surprised. But when we talk about persons like our next guest, where we have the actual production, the writing, and the performing based in an actual musical foundation, you hear that as well. So when GBM joins us, I'll pick up Bart's brain as well.
But there's no surprise. See, for those who don't know, there's no surprise there. Because a lot of
Exactly.
people don't know who his daddy was.
So that's what we'll teach them today.
His daddy was one of my best friends.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, Trinidad not that big. I shouldn't be
No, but
surprised.
We played music together for years. Yeah.
And well, we will talk about that for sure, because I'm sure it impacts his abilities and his way that he meanders through the music fraternity, because he's definitely making waves. And we want to continue that, because today's show, like I said, is really about that soca and calypso music. And if we were to think about how we are, as you say, making sure we keep that connection, it definitely pays to stay connected to people like you, to people like his father, to people like other greats. So I really appreciate that you are also making yourself available to that next generation as well. We will
Especially
definitely.
to home, TTT. Yeah.
Well, you're always welcome here, especially since I'm trying to get a studio session to show my vocal abilities. End up in the little tent hunting, maybe. Who knows?
Come next year, you're selling out to stadiums. Don't doubt yourself.
I'm saying. But I have to walk before I could run. So
problem.
if we were to describe the sound of soca, because as I was saying, you contributed to that sound, what were the elements or the core descriptors that we could define as soca?
Mainly rhythm. Mainly rhythm. Especially in today's iteration of soca, it's mainly rhythm. Now, in the last maybe 10 to 15 years, the rhythms have changed, they've experimented.
Right.
They've gotten overly complicated at times, where a live band could not even play it, kind of situation.
Yeah.
But now they're starting to clean up the sound and starting to get a little more refocused and reconnect it back to the root calypso, which gives us a uniqueness,
Now, when you talk about the rhythm, we have many ways that we could create rhythms. We have more percussion, we have more string, we have vocals that do incredible things. And then now we could digitize things, drum kits, all them kind of fancy things. So if you were to make distinctions that are essential to the soca circuit, are there particular things that we must have? Like brass is an element, I feel, that are really essential. I could be wrong.
No, brass is one of the elements, I think, was almost tried to be squeezed out of the soca situation. But now they're starting to realize that is part of the excitement that brings us here.
Kimmer brass.
But the root of it rhythmic wise, is, well, as musicians would call it, a syncopated rhythm, which is
like we're hearing here. Tack,
simple
tack,
as
tack,
that.
tack, tack, tack,
Right.
tack.
Yeah. But that also came from calypso, and not just soca, because the original calypso beat when bands were playing, instead of the snare doing that, it was the bass drum, the kick. So it used to be doop, 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 doop. So in other words, the same rhythm has just shifted to different instruments. You know.
No.
But this all comes out with how we dance, how we walk, right? So in other words, you cannot play a different pulse of a rhythm like an R&B on the road on Monday and Tuesday and ask people to whine. That ain't happening.
I mean, I could try it. I ain't gonna lie to you.
You'll fail miserably.
Beaver don't test me. But what we also have done is fuse a lot of music. We've seen genres like Afrobeats and those others coming into play with things. So I am going to ask you to think about it in the sense of what is trending now for the 2025 and forward season. How you have to know?
Intel all my childhood.
Not all. He gave you a little blight. He wanted to make sure, coming off of the heels of that fantastic showcase. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
We made sure that we had a little bit of pride left. Because the things Beaver know, I mean.
Yeah, Beaver know a lot of things. Is good to be here in studio together with your brother, uncle, family.
No, but
You're taking an uncle thing publicly?
No, I will take it publicly because his dad and myself were best of friends. We shared so many band room and stage experiences, recording experiences. People could not be surprised because of his success. The environment he was born into, he had no choice but to be
here,
successful.
right? If you didn't do this, he'd have beat you. I mean, really and truly, we were talking about soca and the origins. We know we say calypso is the parent sound, if you will. But you being a writer, producer, and performer with a father that was so heavily involved in what we call the originating sound, or what we describe as the originating sound. How was that for you in terms of directly impacting your course, your chart?
I mean, not to be cliche, but for me, like, I feel his presence. I listen to his music and I'm inspired. And I try to catch up to the science, the musical science. And then I have people like Beaver in my life that would give me perspective in terms of stories and certain histories and like nuances of my dad's personality that I might not have gotten to experience because I was a child and they are grown men in the band room or at an event. Again, to kind of like all of that just becomes a guiding force. It makes me feel grateful. It makes me feel humble I know my dad is and was a legend.
Right.
And I know it from the way that what he did and how it impacted the people around him.
Right.
And, that makes me feel so confident in what is meant for me. But at the same time, it makes me feel humble and grateful that I would even be given a shot. Because, it's not guaranteed.
For sure.
But just the head start, the shot is like, I have nothing but gratitude.
I appreciate your perspective so much because not only is it, of course, humble and very sweet and nice, although you say it with your chest, but I would like to think that a lot of people have to be aware of the pressure that would create as well. The bar is a little bit higher for you as well. So the fact that you didn't even feel that kind of pressure,
no pressure.
You look at it in a positive way is beautiful.
No pressure because, again, I have a level of guidance that is mine. It was meant for me, and everybody has their thing. Like everyone has their personal legend with points on the journey and people on the journey that is meant. Like what's happening is meant for them. And I didn't feel the pressure because again, I stay from this point of view of gratitude. My older brother Kevin Carter, Beaver would know Kevin as well.
Right.
I mean, and he's the first star that I get to witness. I grew up with him, so it's like I seeing him singing and doing karaoke out in New York City and girls bawling and screaming.
It still happen, it still happen.
Yeah.
Redman Association proud.
Yeah, it's still now Christmas season belongs to him.
It's his, yep.
And corporate season belongs to him, you know, and the classic music that he influenced by and that he continues to share, and the stuff that he put me on from my dad, and you know, all the time and all the catalog, and his connection to Carl and Carol, and there's no pressure. It's always been, life has always been showing me, hey, look at what is around you. This is set for you.
Get them.
All right, so for instance, in his situation, I am seeing the result. If I throw back my mind, I'm seeing the result of Ansel, what he was doing in life. The result and what he always wanted to do in life, this is the result here. Because we had talks about why we are doing this. And the reason we were doing it at the time is because of
the next generation.
You know. So when I see his successes, I close my eyes and I look back and I say, Anselm, your mission has been fulfilled.
That has to feel different to hear somebody say that they're seeing it when they close their eyes. I mean, you should remember pause raise something, but
yeah, goose pimples, because my dad, when I listen to his music, right, his music is, he's the first hybrid to me, because and he's not really the first,
right, but to you,
yeah, to me. And he comes from that generation of people who they were heavily connected to what would have been more international at that time, the disco and funk and these different things, and the international style R&B, the ballads and these different things. And their mission was like to take the music here, calypso, the culture that in the sound, and infuse it and carry it up to that world standard. So everything that they did was like quality. The musicality was up there. I mean, we in a room right now with a living legend and pioneer of our sound.
All the clappers.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like they started that, and as Beaver just say, like it was for us. And then I unnaturally on the same page, because now you have Tano and Teja and
the next generation that you're paying it forward for.
And them, so it's like
now
full circle now. Right?
I was just gonna say full circle in many ways for you particularly, because I mean, if we talk about Carol and all these samples, and there are particular ways we could link everything. But what I want to also ask, as I was asking Beaver before we took that quick break, is what you think is the trending sound of 2025. You rightfully hit the nail on the head when you talk about how we've been fusing different genres with the calypso and the soca. That's where we get that hybrid vibe from. What do you think is for 2025 the trending sound?
The throwback sound.
Yeah.
The vintage song. The nostalgia of Tilden Hall rhythm, going back into that zone. Last year, Farmer and myself, we would have started by dabbling with Carl and Carol, Fix It Up.
Let me tell you how much I love going in the center. My knees good because of that. Cock up your foot, I could do it, but yes.
You get plenty lift from the squats.
Watch now. Real good right now.
And I know you like to keep, you know.
But yes, we hear that sound transferring from then to now.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
I would definitely say, if you want to call it the retro sound, the vintage, the nostalgic sound, big up the Red Boys as well, because I don't know if people know that the Tilden Hall rhythm is produced by Red Boys. They are in Barbados. You know what I mean? And this sound that is happening is not just a Trinidad and Tobago thing, it's a Caribbean thing, it's a worldwide thing. You have even before that, you would have had Young Brother and Classic Fresco Bar. They were playing with Winston Soso, If I Rude I Rude.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
that's how we kind of introduced him.
Yeah.
Just for the record's sake, as you mentioned, Red Boys. You know, one of the Red Boys is a Trinidadian, right?
Serious?
We can claim that?
Galty.
You lie.
Look, we learning things. We told you.
Galty's the nephew of one of my best friends. His uncle played in a band here. We were my old schoolmates.
You see why it's important to have Beaver in the conversation?
Right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You're going to learn today.
Yeah,
We tell all inside mashup. We making sure that we teach all the things, the music that made us, teaching us things right here, right now. That makes so much sense, though. And it's not surprising because, I mean, Trinidad is the mecca, regardless of what is going on, competition or not. It is going to be a space where people look to making sure that they hone their chops, as we like to say.
Yeah.
So if we have to describe the current phase of the sound, we get it. But let's take it a step further, because both of you share that producer vein. And I say vein because there's a different sound or different headphones or different headset that you put on. Right?
Open back.
Yeah, that's a whole different. You see, I don't even know what I mean. You see, I'm sort of had inside jokes on me on my own show. Anyway, but in terms of from the production standpoint now, we were talking about the use of brass instruments and live instruments. I always argue that hearing a sound recorded versus a live performance with a band is an entirely different texture. We are seeing the inculcation of competitions and stages everywhere, giving us the opportunity to hear things differently. And so if we were to look at, again, defining that soca and calypso sound, what are some elements that you think are core, essential, must have in the soca mix?
I mean, now the world of instruments can be wide when you start to include indigenous instruments and stuff and cultural things, right? But generally, you have your drums, you have bass, guitar, piano, synths, whatever, right? For our sound, I think brass is definitely there for the pow, the pizzazz, the up there, the pop pop pop, or like with down there, pa pop pop pop, right?
Okay, I can do this forever.
Right? And I think the bass now is like, the bass is super important because the bass is what hitting you under the gut now, boy. And the bass is what making you the bass is in your waist.
He is saying the bass and busting our wine. I like that. I like that for me.
The bass is what giving you the laugh with the doom 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 doom. The bass giving you the swing that the way that a bass played here for calypso and for soca music is unique to me. Is unique. The most unique way to play the instrument.
You're talking about the bass?
Yeah.
And you know why?
Tell them.
Shadow.
That is it.
Shadow is the person who created melody and bass line. And go back to bass. Boom, boom, boom.
Pum, 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 pum.
So, all right, before Shadow, bass in calypso was just like jazz, just a boom, 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 boom.
Right.
Boom, right?
Keeping
Shadow
pace.
created melody and bass. Right, and so when this thing started to change with the rhythm from the goop, doop, 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 which was calypso,
right,
into the soca, the bass became melodic, and that is what carried.
Exactly what he's saying. That is where we get the movement and we waste the rhythm, the melody.
I could see that too because the next instrument we have that is our instrument, we have steel pan,
right,
and most overlooked.
And that coming now, like steel pan being an instrument that within that zone, I would put it in that tier of like orchestration and written music.
Correct.
Right? Bass lines is a all the lines are important part of the steel, but like just like with Shadow example there. When
it is undoubtedly.
So like when you're porting from that orchestral zone to more commercial zone, which would be our kaiso, soca, calypso vibe, and you take that inspiration up, you get the bass line again, you get the movement, so brass, bass. I personally always like a little guitar in there because I just like the chingy-nicky.
All right. No, I mean, it is what it is.
It's in parang. It's in...
No, but in calypso soca is slightly different.
Yeah.
Where the guitar and, well, in the old days it used to be organ, not piano.
Right.
It used to be a upright piano, but between the keyboard and the guitar, there used to be a call and response.
Yes.
So you find both of them talk to each other.
I could do this whole day,
Beaver pause raising it here because this is interview. This is information, now, boy.
Fellas, we cannot end the first session of Mashup without sweet, sweet soca. So, ladies and gentlemen, GBA, before you hit me with our performance, anything you want to tell the people?
I just want to take this moment to thank the country of Trinidad and Tobago and beyond, all the supporters internationally, for all the encouragement, all the great energy, all the positivity, all the guidance. I just want to thank everyone for coming out, who came out to support the event Soul of Soca on Sunday at Songforge. The love is immense. It's immense amounts of love. My phone hasn't stopped buzzing with raving reviews and, anything that anybody feel like
wasn't good enough will be good enough because we're going to do it again.
Oh, yes.
So we're going to do it in NYC, Soul of Soca NYC. And 2026, we will be back again here in Trinidad. I already getting complaints we need a bigger venue.
Uh-huh.
We'll see how that goes then.
We're making it happen.
Yeah.
Speak it into being.
Outside of being, gratitude and being thankful for all the love and support, I also want to take this moment to dedicate this next performance of this song specifically to the late great Ansel Perez and also to Carl Beaver Henderson and to everyone out there who has been rallying hard behind culture and dedicating their life to this thing, to you for being an amazing announcer and for, putting in the work and the
And a favorite child.
and for being a favorite child.
Shout to my moms.
Yeah, I just want to say that everything that I do is not, and what comes from it is not my own. The success, Rabbit Ears, is not mine, is ours. I am a result of all the support and everything that everybody point to me. So I will take that wine on stage when we're in an event together. I will stop singing and take that wine on stage because we fetting and partying and celebrating life together.
That's what we're saying. Thank you guys so much for passing through. This is Mash Up, the music that made us, exclusively on Next 991. The perfect way to kick things off with an iconic performance from GBM of one of his faves, Calypso.
Honeybee, dun, ring bang badin say, hey. GB tell them, I feel like they tricked me with the Calypso. Whoa, yo. It's like they inject it straight in my blood. Whoa, yo. Calypso is who stopped me from reaching my ultimate goal. Cause I get hooked on it like it's drugs. Tell them I know all I want in life is soca. It's like they want to pay me with this thing they call soca. Look what it do Beaver when it hit him harder than soca starter. Body man sing soca and living. So my plan is to sing soca until me dead. Whoa yo, say whoa yo, whoa yo. It's soca or die. Johnny, say, I don't want you get confused with my story. Hey, oh no. This is just things that happen to me and my team, yeah. They try to abuse we loyalty, my friends, why, oh. But good friend better than pocket money. Say, I know all I want in life is soca. It's like they want to pay me with this thing they call soca. Look what they do, I go when it hitting harder than soca starter. Hey, body man, sing soca and living. Soca until me dead. Whoa yo. Say whoa yo. Say whoa yo. It's soca or die. Hey. You can take a wine now.
Yeah, you can
take a wine now. Yo. All I want is one piece of wine, darling, yeah. Wine and have a good time, yeah. All I want is one piece of wine, darling, one piece of wine. Take a wine. Ooh, yeah. I'm playing it cool, yeah. I done pick the mood, yeah. The boy is a fool, you're ready to groove, you're whining away. Hey, have me feeling away. I must get a taste. And I keep watching you put on a show. Girl, you're whining like you already know. Show them. Hey, all I want is one piece of wine, darling. Always bacchanal in the studio, yeah. Say, all I want is one piece of. Now you gotta show me your whining skill now, right? Speed up the wine a little bit. Hey, boy, I know what time in it. When you go slide and let me climb in it. Watch our time in it. Just let me hold on tight and wine with it. Watch our time in it. When you go slide and let me climb in it. Watch our time in.
Next 99's mashup, the music that made us, is powered by Digicel, Better Together, and sponsored by Police Credit Union. Your future is safe with us. Blue Waters, Fet Responsibly, Pizza Hut. Now that's delivering. Creamy novelties for all life's moments. Da Castello Prosecco and Millennium Sound Company.